seen it many times, and but it's a hard one to translate. I never really sat down to really try to translate it myself. But now with the magic machine,
But it's a hard one.
now with the magic machine, we can use its translation. And let's just put everybody here. Zoom, share the screen. Here we go. So it's called Higayon. In other versions, they describe it Chibat Olamim, the eternal affection for the land of Israel. But here, the name that it's given at the collection, it's in the collection Orot, that came out at a certain point. It's one of the, anyway, I won't get into the details of it, but in there, they give it the title Higayon. And Higayon usually means like logic. And I looked it up a little bit in the dictionary. It says Seichel Yashar. This is basically clear thinking, direct thinking that's that rational, that sort of logic. This just makes sense. And now here, Shafrir Shachak. Male Ziv Otzem Shamayim Techelet Chachlili. There is a pavilion of skies filled with splendor, the very essence, substance of the heavens. Techelet Chachlili. The word here is in ruddy origin. Techelet is, of course, the blue of the tzitzit. So it doesn't get that, but he's describing walking outside in the land of Israel, and he's saying it's a pavilion of skies. And if you look at the different heaven skies here, it's very true. Every day can be like, there's so many different ways the heavens present themselves, but they're a pavilion of skies that are filled with splendor. And let's go back to the Hebrew, etzem shamayim, it's the essence of the heavens. Tachlit chachli. Ah, wait a minute. Techelet, that's right. It's techelet. It's the techelet that's marhiv ayin. It's breath, marhiv ayin. It dazzles the eye. Begilat lev, with jubilation of the heart, rejoicing of the heart. The heavens the skies in Israel are a pavilion of skies filled with splendor, the very substance of the heavens, with the techelet, the shining techelet that dazzles the eye and rejoices the heart. Umi pe'at kadim nitzotzei chama. Yeah, I think we'll translate this one line by line because it's not a poem that rhymes. It's in that way. So let's just get every line because each one it requires. Okay, umi pe'at kadim, and from the eastern quarter, from where the sun rises, right? Nitzotzei chama, there are sparks of the sun. Dokrim ishun, that penetrate, they pierce the pupil of the eye, be'machov nachat, with a pleasant pain, with a pleasurable pain, v'tziftzuf tziporim, and there is the chirping of the birds, besimcha gluya, in the chirping of the birds in open joy. In the morning, when the sun comes out and you feel the eyes and you hear the chirping of the birds, that's, yeah, I can really relate to that because of how my apartment is located. I really experience this. And let's keep going. Ve'agan maleo, and there is a sort of a basin that is filled with light. And the basin would be, I guess, a reference to the land that the light shines upon. Agan maleo vechutei paz, and threads of fine gold, yiriat tachelet mavheket. It's a glittering curtain of techelet. Azure is that, but techelet, I mean, techelet, the sweater I'm wearing is I think they meant it to be techelet. But, and back to the Hebrew, Shafrir Shamayim, a pavilion of heavens, Betzeit Hashemesh, when the sun comes out, Ve'reach Prachim, and then there is the scent of the flowers, Bosmei Eden, that have the bosom, the fragrance of Eden. There is every morning a basin, this earth is filled with light, and threads of fine gold, and a glittering curtain of techelet, and a pavilion of heavens, all come forth at the rising of the sun, and the scent of the flowers come forth with the perfumes of Eden. Okay, let's keep. Ve'osher tzva'im, and a great wealth, a richness of colors. Yimalu sason, will be filled with joy. Let's see how this is. A richness of colors shall fill with gladness, shall fill with joy. Chadrei levav, the rooms of our heart. The perfumes of Eden, the richness of colors will fill with joy the chambers of our heart. Hashamayim chavivim, and the heavens, the skies are beloved, they're loved. Haneshama mihem porachat, the soul from them flowers. This is how the soul of Israel is flowering in the land of Israel. The skies are beloved, and from there the soul takes flight. Porachat. That's actually, yeah. Vital revivim, and dew and showers rain. The dew and the rain, dayam yitenu. They will each give enough. They will provide. And the dew and the showers shall yield their sufficiency. And this is the final verse. The eretz haviva, to this beloved land, chibat olamim, to this land that is beloved with an eternal love. Eretz Avot, the land of our ancestors. Eretz Kodesh, the Holy Land. Sheba be'oshri, ragli omedet, that in it, to my great joy, my feet is standing in. This was written, they don't have a specific date, but he could have written it like 1904, 1905, just after he started to walk through Israel, and he would take a walk every day from where he was in Yaffo. And the descriptions of how he walked, he really was feeling the full, exactly what he's describing. So with the blessing that soon everyone who walks through Israel will experience it in this way, let's just do a quick, in the honor of, because Tu B'Shvat represents the rebirth of Israel. All of the mitzvot that are only applicable in Israel. So it's really I think it's the only, I mean, it's not an official, it's not a holiday of Tu B'Shvat. It became a practice based on when the year of the trees. There's two, it's either Rosh Chodesh or the 15th, Hillel Shammai, and we go with Hillel the 15th. This is the day, every tree that sprouts from the ground now, its produce is considered part of next year. So but that's something that's only relevant in Israel. But may we be blessed. And many people experience parts of this in some ways. I mean, it's what makes birthright so effective. They just walk them through the land. I mean, they tell stories now, but it's the experience, the actual physical experience of experiencing every morning the pavilion of the skies that are filled with splendor, the very substance of the heavens, and the azure of the Techelet are all dazzling the eye and bringing rejoicing to our hearts. And from the eastern side, the sparks of the sun, as the very sunrise, pierce the pupil with delicious pain. And we hear the chirping of the birds in open jubilation. And then this entire basin that we're all in together is filled with light, threads of fine gold, glittering, techela, a curtain of techelet, a pavilion of heavens as the sun rises fully, the rising of the sun, and then the scent of the flowers, and they're bringing the scent of Eden. In the Hebrew, they're really bringing the fragrance of Eden, and this richness of colors will fill with joy and jubilation the chambers of our heart. And these beloved skies, from them our souls can take flight. It's in this Techelet heavens, that Techelet skies. And I think that Techelet is based on the color of the sky in terms of the what Techelet is officially. So it really is, it's that's the and Baruch Hashem, since we daven for it, and the dew and the rains, showers will yield. They'll give us what we need. Not too much, not too little, right? In the water, it's really it's exactly what you need. And and we have to understand that the biggest challenge for us in being in Israel, one of the biggest challenges is um, providing for the water for us, because there isn't really a natural, there's not enough natural water. But he's saying that the dew and the rains will yield their sufficiency in this land that is beloved with eternal love, the land of our ancestors, the land of holiness, where in my bliss, in our bliss, Rav Kook'S, my foot is standing, and may all our feet of Am Yisrael be standing in bliss in Eretz Ha. In the Eretz HaChaviva, Chibat Olamim, Eretz Avot, Eretz Kodesh. May we be really blessed. The land will come to its complete fullness as we come to our complete fullness. Venomar.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah, so that's there's stories. One story that's told about Rav Kook walking the land when he met Aryeh Levine. Aryeh Levine came to Israel in 1908, and he came to know Rav Kook, and he became one of his three closest Talmidim. And they went for a walk, and Aryeh Levine picked a flower or something from where they were walking, and Rav Kook really gave it to him. He said, no, we're not allowed to just stump pick everything has to grow here. We don't. He really said to him not to pick the flowers in that way. And also there's one of my favorite stories is that they were taking him from Jerusalem to Yaffo. Maybe I'll shut the thing. They were taking him from Jerusalem to Yaffo in a.
Are you recording this?
Yes.
Okay.
And I guess it was if it was in the 20s, it was an early type car. I'm not sure what it was, but they were, but something, it could have even been a wagon thing, but something broke down. And they needed to fix it, and they said, "Well, come back. It's going to take a while to fix." So all the people that were there, they wandered off, to be in the shade or so on. And then when it was time to come back, everybody there, and they couldn't, Rav Kook didn't, and they were looking, where's Rav Kook? And so they went to look for him. And they found him somewhere in his area, lying face down on the ground. That's basically what he did. He just went there and just lay on the ground of Israel. And I really want to recommend that after. It's a tremendous experience. I've done it here. And but he really, yeah, so that's why I think I must have gotten the idea from when I read that story. But so yeah, so we were very blessed that he walked into history and did what he did. So now we go on. Let's go back to the material. I found here. All right. We spent quite a bit of time on the letters that he wrote in 1918, 1970, 1918, where he wanted to create this organization. And this is an English review that also tells more than about what happened with some of the specifics, and follow along with me. And then we'll go into the brand new piece, which takes place when he comes to Israel, and he writes it in 1920. But so they say, and it was called Degel Yerushalayim, the spiritual organization movement founded by Rav Kook in 1918. Its goal was to serve as a spiritual alternative or a complement to the secular Zionist movement, unifying religious and Haredi Jewry around the national revival project through the lens of holiness. We're going to do the nationalism with holiness.
That's
And
awesome.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm not sharing. Why are you, please somebody tell me. If I'm reading and you don't see the words I'm reading, then please tell me, because it means I didn't share.
Yeah, don't share. I'm not seeing words.
Yeah, well, now I know that. That's why now you will see words.
Okay.
You're seeing words now, right? Okay. So the founded in London in the winter of 1918, shortly after the Balfour Declaration, where Rav Kook was serving as the rabbi of Machzikei Adat. The motive for creating the organization, Rav Kook feared that adopting Zionism in a purely secular format would lead to a disconnect from the world of Torah and spirit. He wasn't satisfied with the activities of the Mizrahi and the political religious Zionist movement that did exist, which he viewed as too compromising and secondary to the main secular leaders. They weren't strong enough. So the vision was, Rav Kook sought to establish a global body that would be equal in stature to the Zionist organization. And while the Zionist organization would handle the material political aspects, the body of the nation, the Degel Yerushalayim, the flag of Jerusalem, the banner of Jerusalem, would manage the spiritual Torah aspects, the soul of the nation. They would be relating to the soul of the nation. And he used several metaphors to explain the need for a specific movement to do this. There are two hands. The Zionist movement is the left hand, dealing with the everyday and the action, while the Degel Yerushalayim would be the right hand, dealing with spirit and holiness. And this, of course, the Sefer Yetzirah defines right and left in these ways. And here's one that the tefillin, Mizrahi, I guess the Mizrahi religious was compared to the tefillin of the hand, subservient to the heart and action. I'm not sure why you would say Mizrahi. I would say you would say the Zionism is compared to the tefillin of the hand, while Degel Yerushalayim is the tefillin of the head, guiding us through thought and direction. And the goal was to unite the Haredim, the super duper, some who opposed Zionism, and religious Zionists in a banner of holiness, Kodesh, to preserve that. The movement was active for a few years. There were several significant attempts to establish it. There were branches opened in Jerusalem, which was led by Rabbi Harlap, who was Rav Kook's main ally in Jerusalem, and an extraordinary human being. There was a branch in London. There was a branch in Switzerland where Tzvi Yehuda was, and he there recruited. And Rabbi Kook also recruited Torah giants from all over the world, Hasidic rabbis, Haredi rabbis, trying to convince them that this was the way to influence the building of the land without compromising religious principles. Do you understand what he's addressing here, considering the conflict that Israel is now between these worlds? He was right here saying, let's make sure we don't get to that state. That's what he was fixing today's problem.
Apparently not.
The land purchase, there was practical plan to purchase land and assets in Jerusalem, specifically in the area of the Western Wall and the Temple Mount, and to ensure a religious foothold in the holy sites. And also to create a central yeshiva. And this did happen. One of the most tangible fruits of the movement's vision was the established to create the Yeshivat HaMerkazit HaOlamit, the central universal yeshiva. And this was at Beit Harav. Him and the Nazir put this together with Rav Harlap and a few other people in order to cultivate a new spiritual leadership, and this became Yeshivat Merkaz Harav. He says it declined because it didn't have resources. The Zionist organization was stronger, better organized, and controlled the finances. The political opposition, the Mizrahi, who were the other ones, they saw Degel Yerushalayim as a competitor, and the Haredi, they still were wary of cooperating with nationalistic ideas. They didn't all go for it. It's nice that he's suggesting it, but
Interesting.
And then he also became the chief rabbi, and he became the chief rabbi of Yerushalayim, and then the chief rabbi of Israel in 1921. So all his work then was directed towards establishing the chief rabbinate, which was partially a realization of the Degel Yerushalayim vision. It's in that to create a rabbinic system here that can really help Israel thrive spiritually and materially. And so that he did. And the legacy of it continues. I mean, the ideas here, the formal organization never became, but the ideas became religious Zionism, more or less. And yeah, and then the interesting people that is about the history of all this and so on. But I really just want to finish this particular one with the bracha that we really are able to raise the banner of the spirit and the light of the Torah in such a way that it'll really really illuminate and blend and grow and thrive with 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 the work of Zion, the work of Zionism, because it's the harmony of Yerushalayim and Zion, and Rav Kook wants to bring the Yerushalayim into, and it is happening certainly, and it's very much the nature of Israel, but the more we can be really conscious of it in a way that can really thrive and bring great holiness and illumination to all of Israel through us to the entire world. Venomar.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. All right. So this next one is
Hey,
19.
Rabbi, I have a question real quick.
Sure.
So what was the impetus for the chief rabbinate was that there would be like a like a like a ruling body or somebody that, for example, for stuff like Shemitah. And then yeah, and then the chief rabbis now they're all the next in line from the organization that Rav Kook set up, and are they still
Not
looked
of the
at as like
yeah, no. Well, the organization being the chief rabbinate.
right?
Yeah.
So that okay, and are they still? Do they still have like the final say on halakhic matters, or how does? I mean, there's the Sephardic chief rabbi and there's the Ashkenaz chief rabbi. Like, do
Well,
they have the ultimate?
well, they in the religious Zionist world, but it's not that they're the controlling. It's understood that they know that they have the best understanding of the Torah. It's not to be a ruling party. It's to be accurate teachers of the Torah, so that we follow the Torah accurately, and they're responsible for knowing it and teaching it to us, so we do it properly. It's not about power. It's about making sure that we do Torah in the best possible way. What happened, though, was as this was set up, the Haredi set up their own, and they've been living separately ever since.
Mm.
They have their own rabbinic body that they follow, and they don't. And this rabbinic party, I mean, it does have legal power now that in the Medinat Israel that they, in terms of kashrut, lots of things. So they have they do a lot of work here in Eretz Yisrael.
Mm.
But the Haredim have separated from them and created their alternative, and that's the experience we're having.
Last question: Who was it really that pushed for the chief rabbinate to be set up? Like, was it
Rav
I guess
Kook.
the religious Zionists?
No. It was Rav Kook. He
Okay.
understood that now that we're coming back to Israel, we have to set up a system of rabbis, that there's a rabbi in every city and every part of Israel whose responsibility was to make sure that people understood what the Torah, to whatever, and also to be there for questions and legal questions. There's so many questions in halacha, to be the ones who offer that to the people, and to be in cooperation with each other. This was a cooperative thing to that, and then that the center of it would be the chief Ashkenazi rabbi and the chief Sephardi rabbi. That was also determined then. But the chief Sephardi rabbi position already existed. There had been, it was called the Rishon LeZion, the first in Zion. And that was I'm not sure for a certain part from the 1800s that position came into history, but there hadn't been a chief Ashkenazi rabbi before, and then Rav Kook became the first one, and the two have been And of course, it also meant that the Sephardim and the Ashkenazim will work together. They're together in this, and thank God that, because that's another place where we could go, crazy conflicts. So he was really trying to create an organization that would ensure Israel functioned well and properly according to the Torah, because otherwise there's no way we could thrive. Okay, so now this is the next one. He wrote in Jerusalem in 1920. He just came back the year before, the half year before. And the title of it, Tchiyat HaKodesh, HaTchiyah HaShlema, the renewal of the holy, renewal of the holy, the complete renewal. It's specific here that the hay is on the second one. It's when you have the renewal of the holy, then we can have the complete renewal for Israel. That's the implication there. And I've got a translation here of it, and we can the Hebrew and go to the translation. But again, it's fascinating to see that he's so concerned about this, because you'll see here, it's carrying on what he was. Well, you'll see, but it's very much a continuation of what led to Degel Yerushalayim being so important to him. He put a lot of work, and it became during those years, it was quite a thing. So he says like this. Let's find the okay. Tchiyat HaKodesh. Tchiyat HaKodesh. The renewal of the holy. Ani sho'el et atzmi. I ask myself, Hayitachen, is it possible? Could it? Shetchiyatenu haleumit, that our national rebirth, re-enlivening, tiye rak tchiyah chilonit, it will only be a secular renewal. The HaKodesh ya'amod rak al hamatzav hagolati, galuti, the health, the holy part of Israel will just continue to be the way it was in Galut. We'll just, it's a Zionist, they'll come and do everything. It's in the religious will just stay like they were in Galut. Belo hitorerut shel chaim, without any awakening of life, any life awakening. He's talking to his time. Is it possible that the only ones who are bringing life and an awakening to this return to Israel is the secular Zionists? And the whole realm of the holy will just remain as it was in exile, without any awakening, life awakening, below hitchachut shel geula, without any renewal of geula, not to participate in the geula that is going on. Hayitachen liot kacha? Could it possibly be that way, that that's what's going to be?
So he's calling for a transformation of the religious world.
Yeah.
Okay.
And his answer is, lo velo. No, it's not possible that the holy will just remain in its exilic space, and that without the renewal of Geula, and is it possible that the national renewal will only be secular? So for both of those, it's not possible it'll only remain secular, and it's not possible that the Kodesh will stay in its Galut space without any acknowledgement to the Geula. Let's read the English. The revival of the sacred. I ask myself, and he's sharing this with everybody. He's just a public letter. He's saying, I'm asking myself, is it possible that our national revival will only be a secular revival while the sacred remains only in its exilic state, without an awakening of life, without a renewal of redemption? Is it possible to be so? No, and no. No, it can't. Here, let's go back to the Hebrew before we. Tashiv Knesset Israel Kula. No and no, the entire assembly of Israel answers. This is all of Israel is answering, no, it can't be that way. Yodim anu kulanu. We all know, the secular, the religious, we all know, shemekor chayenu hu HaKodesh, that the source of our life is the holy, the realm of the holy. The Israel experience came into the world by a group of people connecting to the Creator and dedicating themselves to creating Mamlechet Kohanim Vegoy Kadosh. And if you read the early Zionists and Ben Gurion and the creation of the state and all that, they acknowledge this. They're not denying. They're saying, we are in the spirit of Israel to bring the ideal into the world and all that. It's in their inside very clearly. It says, because we all know that the source of our life of Israel is the holy. Ve HaKodesh מוכרח הוא להראות את כוחו המקורי. The holy has to demonstrate its foundational power. It has to demonstrate it, to show it, to bring it out. וסוף כל סוף יוכר לכל. And finally, it'll be clear to all. Everybody will recognize גם אותות התחייה של החול, that the signs of the renewal, the revival of the chol, the secular, we're going to build cities, roads, political things. That's not Kodesh. We're going to build the land of Israel. And he says, everybody will at one point come to recognize that all of these renewals of the everyday things, that are very important things to build, HaKodesh hu hapoel otam. It's the realm of the holy that is activating them. That's what's moving us ultimately. I mean, Isaac Luria was the beginning of the first Zionist in the 1200s. Say we have to start to return and we have to do learn all the secular things they have to do. I mean, the Vilna Gaon, they were all saying that very clearly, that we now have to do the whole. The holy is, and the reason that
Rav Yitzhak, your image is frozen.
No,
Can't hear you. Can anybody hear me?
I hear you.
Me
Okay,
too.
I think the rabbi's, something's happened with his,
I
Right.
hear you too.
good to see you. Good to hear you.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to be active.
Yeah, where is he?
Maybe he's rebooting.
I'm rebooting here for some reason. Uh-huh.
You get a message?
No, I've got to come back. I'm outside. There we are. I don't see him though.
Can you phone him?
I don't see him either.
I don't know that I have his number.
hey, I'm back.
Oh,
Sorry.
good.
Can you hear me and see me?
Now
Yes.
you can.
I'm not sure.
Baruch Hashem.
Maybe I have too many screens open in the computer.
No,
Or maybe when
message
you
is
get
too
really
hard.
passionate about something, it seems to maybe it's too hot for the computer.
Exactly.
So in every case, let's finish. We only have a few sentences of where we are, and then we'll continue. But I do want to bring it to of course, all those screens aren't necessarily.
You're not, are you still recording now or not?
Okay. Go on, you can do it. Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right, I did it. Now let's bring everybody back. Okay, I'm now going to bring us to where we were and conclude it there.
It's good to see you again.
But again, I hope these are of interest because
Very much.
they're very significant. He's really giving us instructions for what we need to do in order to be Israel completely. And it's interesting how much of his instructions are to the so-called religious.
And they're still so they're
Because
so
he think he
relevant now.
understood that there's some real prisons that the exile put us into. All right, so let's just end where we were. He says, finally, the community of Israel, we all know that the source of our life is the holy, and the holy has to show its complete power to such a way that it'll become very clear to everybody that even these so-called secular the secular revival renewal that Israel's having, it's the holy, the energy of the holy is what's moving it. And this will end with this line here. Vekocho, and its power, the power of the renewal, the revival. No, I guess not. It's kocho, the power of the holy. Hu hamechadesh. That is what is renewing et haniflaot hagdolot, these extraordinary wonders she'einenu ro'ot, that our eyes are seeing. Tchiyat HaKodesh beIsrael Be'eretz Yisrael, the revival, the renewal of the holy in the land, in Israel, the people of Israel, and in the land of Israel, Muchrachat Lavo, has to come. Vehi bo tavo, and it will come. And here we end, but I just want to show you the next line to pique our interest, because he says the big question will be, how will we do this? The big question is, in what way can the holy renewal come forth? And he goes into the way it should be done and the way we better not do it. So I'll conclude by reading the English to where we left off as the conclusion. Okay. The revival of the sacred, of the holy. I am asking myself, is it possible that our national revival will only be secular revival and the sacred will remain only in its exilic state, without an experience, awakening of life, without a renewal of redemption? Is it possible to be this way? No, no. The entire assembly of Israel will answer. Not the rabbis. He's saying Israel will answer. We all know that the source of our life is the sacred. And the sacred, the kadosh, must manifest in its original power. And ultimately, it will be recognized by all that even the signs of the secular revival, it's the sacred, the kadosh, that's operating them, that's moving it. And the power of the kadosh is what is renewing the great wonders that our eyes are beholding. The revival of the kadosh, of the sacred in Israel and in the land of Israel must come, and it shall come. The question is, in what manner will it come? And let's not get into that yet, but it shall come. That's the process, and we're ups and downs, and until we figure out how to do it, so that full fusion of the kadosh and the whole is really integrated. And again, I have to say, the one where from what I can see, where it's happening most profoundly is in the army. The connection, and again, it's completely Rav Kook and his students. The entire reason that there's so many super idealistic soldiers and who are giving their lives to making sure Tzahal is both spiritually and materially very high functioning. But that's where, in those situations, I think that's where that bridge is most experienced, because Tzvi Yehuda, Rav Kook's son, said we have to be the spirit of we have to provide the spiritual inspiration, we have to provide the spiritual instruction, and they're doing that in so many beautiful ways. So may we be blessed to completely fuse Tchiyat HaKodesh for Tchiyat HaUmah, so that we can make it so kadosh and so illuminated that Amalek will be completely gone, and because it's a much stronger power, the kadosh, than the tameh. It's a divine power. It's not like that's the big enemy. We have the power. It just, we need to direct it consciously. And Rav Kook we're very blessed to have such extraordinary guidance. So may we be blessed to bring the complete fusion of the holy into all of Israel and in all the world, and conquer all, and then that's where our enemies will all just disintegrate. Rabbi Amenu v'nomar.
Amen.
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 Amen. Amen. Amen.